demanding answers. He was arrested for possession of marijuana and died in the sheriff's custody. As authorities release new details, they're pleading for patience as the Texas Rangers conduct their own investigation. Here's Rebecca Lopez.
Marvin Scott's sister tearfully described her younger brother.
This is really hard for me right now, but Marvin was funny. His spirit was amazing. He would do anything for anybody.
Allen police arrested Scott Sunday in the Allen Premium Outlets parking lot for having less than 2 ounces of marijuana on him. Paramedics took Scott to a hospital first because police thought he had taken drugs and say he was acting in an erratic manner. He spent 3 hours there before he was taken to the jail. The family and their attorney say Scott suffered from schizophrenia, and law enforcement knew that based on his past arrests.
There's different protocols for people with mental health issues that when officers are aware of it, they're supposed to take certain precautions. They were not taken here. They're often not taken, and it results in unnecessary death.
They demanded transparency from Collin County Sheriff Jim Skinner.
It's infuriating because the transparency that was promised and promised and promised.
Sheriff Skinner released some details of the case, but says all of the answers people want may take some time.
The death of this young man is a profound tragedy, and we have an obligation to uncover the full and complete truth. Firm, concrete, and factual information.
Skinner says the night Scott died, he exhibited strange behavior, so detention officers tried to restrain him to a bed, then pepper sprayed him and put a spit hood over his head so he wouldn't spit on officers.
While being placed on the restraint bed, Mr. Scott became non-responsive.
He later died at the hospital. Scott's family wants the sheriff to arrest the officers involved. By law, the sheriff had to turn the criminal investigation over to another agency, in this case, the Texas Rangers. However, he did place 7 officers on leave while he conducts an internal affairs investigation to see if any one of them will be disciplined or fired.
So given these circumstances, it is not my role to criminally investigate nor arrest the personnel that I placed on administrative leave.
The question the family wants to know is why a man with mental illness was taken to the jail in the first place, and then how he was treated once he got there.
Marvin Scott III! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say it louder! Marvin Scott III! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Arrest the who? Collin County 7! Arrest the who? Collin County 7!
No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! 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 No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Say his name! Marvin Scott III! No peace! No peace! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III!
Marvin Scott III mother was notified was through a medical examiner text message regarding Marvin Scott on a Monday at 2:23. How did I know that he had passed away? Because I'm a nurse and I call the medical examiner. When people in this community, they pass away, that's not a way to be notified, okay? By text message. Guess when he died?
So sad.
The night before. Guess when I seen his body yesterday for the first time. Allen County has failed us tremendously. They have failed us tremendously. And I'm very disappointed. We want justice for our son, and we want it now. Release the videotape. Release the videotape. Release the videotape. Release the videotape. Release the videotape.
Release the videotape! Release the videotape! Release the videotape!
Release the videotape!
Release the videotape!
Release the videotape!
Release the videotape!
Release the videotape!
It was a day Lysandra and Marvin Scott Jr. weren't ready for.
It hurts. It hurts so bad. It's my baby.
They brought their son Marvin back home to St. Louis to lay him to rest. They called him Little Marvin.
It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Marvin grew up here, graduating from Heritage High School, played football, and made A's until his parents say he got sick. Eventually, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but they thought he was getting better.
This last year, he was doing really, really well.
2 weeks ago, he was arrested by Allen police with less than 2 ounces of marijuana. He was booked in the Collin County Jail where he died. The sheriff says detention officers struggled with him, tried to restrain him to a bed, pepper sprayed him, and used a spit hood.
It's inhumane. It's inhumane.
The Collin County Sheriff says body cameras and cameras in the jail capture what happened, but the case was turned over to the Texas Rangers, and they have yet to release the video or answer questions about the investigation into 7 detention officers who are on administrative leave.
I want everybody held accountable.
The sheriff is also conducting a separate investigation into his employees to see if they should be disciplined or fired. Supporters continue to hold protests every night.
Because silence is violence.
In front of the Collin County Jail, demanding justice. While in St. Louis, his parents are surrounded by friends and family, trying to find some peace and comfort.
Morgan Young is live in Collin County, where a memorial honoring Marvin Scott continues to grow there, Morgan.
Izzy, yeah, that memorial sits here on the gate that's actually in the staff parking lot here at the Collin County Jail. There are signs on this gate calling for justice for Marvin Scott. And these are the same calls, you're hearing them right now, that have come from protesters as they've come to be at this jail every night since Scott's death. Now, his family laid him to rest in St. Louis just days ago, and they were actually on their way back to Texas and had to pull over when they got the news that these officers had been fired. They say it's a good start.
Why would they do this to my baby?
It's the question Lysandra and Marvin Scott Jr. have been asking for nearly 3 weeks.
Ever since the family received the news via text message from the medical examiner,
Telling them their son, 26-year-old Marvin Scott III, was gone. He died here while in custody.
I want everybody held accountable.
On Thursday, a step.
Marvin Scott's family was relieved to hear that these men have been terminated. Today we learned that there's an 8th suspect.
But attorney Lee Merritt says justice for Scott's family requires more steps.
However, they're most concerned about these men being held criminally accountable.
Allen police arrested Scott on March 14th on a marijuana possession charge. He died in jail hours later. Scott's family says it's likely that he was having a mental health crisis. In a statement, the sheriff said the Texas Rangers criminal investigation is ongoing and that, quote, evidence I have seen confirms that these detention officers violated well-established sheriff's office policies and procedures. Merritt says Scott's family will meet with the Collin County Prosecutor's Office this week.
We were encouraged to hear that the previous week, once we released the preliminary results from our autopsy, that the prosecutor's office decided to meet with our forensic pathologist from American Forensics in order, hopefully, to expedite the grand jury presentation.
They want transparency when it comes to what exactly happened.
We're still looking forward to seeing the video and having that video released to the family and to the community.
The truth hurts. I want the truth. I want to see this.
Collin County Sheriff says that he has now fired the 7 detention officers who were involved in the death of Marvin Scott III. Scott, if you don't know the backstory, was arrested last month by Allen police. He was in possession of less than 2 ounces of marijuana. While at the Collin County Jail, Sheriff Jim Skinner says that officers used pepper spray and put a spit mask on Scott, who was on a restraint bed. He was found unresponsive a few hours later. Today, Skinner said in a statement, quote, "Evidence I have seen confirms that these detention officers violated well-established policies and procedures." Skinner says in addition to the 7 officers he fired, an 8th officer did resign. That was while under investigation. The Texas Rangers continue to investigate Scott's death on a criminal side, possibly.
Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! If you stood by your watch, get back up! If you stood by your watch, get back up! You stood by your watch, you're a bad cop! If you stood by your watch, you're a bad cop! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get shut it down! If we don't get shut it down!
She was with us. Now! Justice! Now!
Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III!
No peace! No peace! No peace!
No peace!
The Collin County Jail just fired 7 detention officers, and another officer who was under investigation resigned. This comes nearly 3 weeks after a man died while in custody. Activists have spent every night outside the jail since Marvin Scott's death. And this news of the officers being fired is just part of the justice they've been calling for. Ariel Placencia near that memorial outside of the Collin County Jail. So Ariel, how is Marvin Scott's family reacting to the news?
Well, Kara, it's certainly been an emotional week for the Marvin Scott family. Just on Tuesday, they traveled to St. Louis for the funeral. And then yesterday, family members told us they were actually on their way back here to Texas when they got the news about the officers being fired, which they said is a step in the right direction. But for them, it's not enough. Now, some details about the case. It all started back on March 14th. Marvin Scott was arrested outside the Allen Outlet Mall for misdemeanor possession of marijuana after security was called about the smell. When Scott was first brought to the jail, the sheriff said during a press conference last month that he exhibited some strange behavior. The sheriff said detention officers tried to secure him to a restraint bed, and while doing so, they used pepper spray once and placed what's called a spit hood over Scott's face, which are used to prevent individuals from spitting on officers, we're told. Scott became unresponsive on the restraint bed, and he was taken to Baylor McKinney, where he later died. Scott's family says it is likely that he was having a mental health crisis. Now, the Collin County Sheriff's Office says body cameras and cameras in the jail captured what happened, but the video has not been released yet. These detention officers violated well-established Sheriff's Office policies and procedures. Meanwhile, the attorney for the Marvin Scott family says they plan to meet with the Collin County Prosecutor's Office in the next week.
There have been too many cloudy days lately for the Scott family.
30 days is a long time. It doesn't feel like 30 days. It still feels like yesterday.
Lachey Betts still feels the pain of losing her younger brother, Marvin Scott. Marvin died in mid-March at the Collin County Jail.
And even though it's going to be traumatizing and traumatic, I want to see what those last minutes of his life look like.
The last moments between Marvin Scott and 7 detention officers who have since been fired. The family says Marvin was suffering a mental crisis.
No names. The video hasn't been released. No arrests have been made.
The family is upset. They feel in the dark. They say very little has been released. Other national cases, they feel, have moved faster.
30 days at this point is not unreasonable under these circumstances.
We spoke with Pete Schulte, who was a former officer and an attorney.
You bring in another agency to do an investigation, you almost have to play by their rules.
In this case, the Texas Rangers, who now have the video and all investigative material.
With the Rangers involved, this doesn't surprise me. I know it's heart-wrenching for the families, but that information will come at some point, but it's very situational driven.
Lachey continues to protest at the jail every night with her 2 boys who miss their Uncle Marvin.
Because my brother deserved better. Everybody deserves better. Nobody should have went through what Marvin went through.
The longer the family waits, the harder this gets. What they want more than anything, they can't have.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
Welcome to Collin County, where they murdered inmates. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Marvin David Scott III died in custody. They put a knee on his arm. They restrained him. They pepper sprayed him, and they put a spit hood over his head, and he died. And I am his mother. This is his sister. His dad is out here. His nephew is out here. And we're calling for justice. Stand with us. Ask Collin County to release the video. Email the sheriff. Do what you can. What if this was your son? How would you feel? What if it was your son? Let's be real. What if it was your son? We had to bury our son about a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. Unacceptable. I am a nurse and I serve Collin County. Color doesn't make a difference, right? We're all human beings. I saved lives and they took my son from me. Unacceptable. Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III.
Marvin Scott III.
Marvin Scott III.
Release the video.
Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III.
Arrest you?
The Collin County 8.
Arrest you?
The Collin County 8.
Arrest you?
The Collin County 8. Now. 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 Now.
A lot of people are watching. Marvin Scott died 35 days ago while in the custody of the Collin County Jail. 7 officers were fired and an 8th resigned. Now the Collin County NAACP is joining Scott's family to demand some answers. Joe Pennicker has details on what happened in today's meeting.
Well, Marvin Scott's family met with the DA's office here in Collin County for about 2 hours. The attorney characterizes that meeting as productive, but says it leaves them with more questions than answers. The meeting was held Monday morning. This was the second meeting with prosecutors. The family wants to know the details surrounding Marvin Scott III's death. Scott died while in custody. He was arrested earlier in the day with less than 2 ounces of marijuana. The responding officers said he was acting erratically. The family attorney says Marvin died while 8 detention officers tried to restrain him. The family says Marvin was suffering a mental health crisis and needed a clinic and not jail. The Collin County Sheriff did fire all 8 officers. The family now wants the video inside the jail to be released. They also want the arrests of the officers they are now calling the Collin County 8. The family got no assurances there would be arrests, also no timeline on when the video will be released. The Texas Rangers are still investigating the case, which is one reason a lot of information has not been released.
The family made clear that the DA's responsibility, first and foremost, is to this family and to the Collin County community.
We still don't have answers. It's really unacceptable.
Now, it has been 35 days since the death of Marvin Scott. The family is frustrated it is taking this long, and they also say they have seen national cases move at a much faster pace.
Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Hey, what's up, bud? Shut it down!
Lead it right there.
Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III!
What do we want? Where do we want it? What do we want? Justice. Where do we want it? Now. If we don't get it,
shut it down.
If we don't get it,
shut it down.
We don't get it.
Shut it down.
If Marvin doesn't get it,
shut it down.
On streets. On streets.
On streets.
On
III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III! Marvin Scott III!